Welcome back, folks, to the College COD Summer Open presented by eFuse. I'm by myself now. We had a little bit of trouble with internet issues, so we're just a big full screen. Hi there, how you doing? I'm gonna give you a nice fat kiss. Mwah. So yeah, so big game coming up here. Our semifinal matchup between SEU Blue and the St. Clair Saints. Now, Ottawa Black and Texas Tech, that's going on the Bravo version, so you can go ahead and check that out at College COD Bravo on the opposite side. Why not watch both matches at the exact same time? But either way, as we get ready for this matchup specifically, we saw St. Clair a little bit earlier on. They did go ahead and take down TAMU Maroon inside of a 3-0 best-of-5 series, so that was the winners round bracket number 1 match. They sent them to the lower bracket, where unfortunately they lost to Purdue COD as well. So now that the side of the St. Clair Saints have moved on to the semifinals, both of these teams looking to go ahead and advance themselves to the winners finals. But the big thing they don't want to do here is get knocked down to the losers bracket, because the loser of this game would have to go up against Penn State Blue. And if we just if you call back to just about 25 minutes ago, they look damn scary, and I wouldn't want to face them either. Either way though, we're inside of the hard point for map number 1. It's going to be Moscow for our hard point here. And the Sauce is just going to be laying down, looking for a few players starting to touch onto the hard point. SEU trying to make their way back onto it. Thresh, though, with a double kill inside of the hill, gets a team kill by Relk that comes through. However, the contest is still there, so although they've gotten a decent amount of kills, and they've got the spawn for P2 secured for themselves, it's going to be a bit of trouble here in middle map, as the St. Clair Saints still go ahead and hold on to the hard point. This is kind of what we were talking about on Raid when we saw them take on the last map on the stream, where their hard points look stellar, number 1, but number 2, their team chemistry and teamwork was at the utmost of their importance for how good they were going into their hardpoint matches. So as we continue to start looking over towards our P2 hill, now Brandon going to be looking over towards the opposite side. Thresh, the first one to fall, turns around, almost is able to find the kill there on the Kruk. For SEU, last year it was a different roster that Relk was on as well as Kruk. But this time they are going to be on at least at a new school that is going to be joining here for the CCL, which is always nice to have. Familiar faces coming back on new rosters, or rather for new schools, is kind of what we come to expect every single year over year, just simply due to the fact that some teams are like, screw it, we're not the greatest, we might drop out of this year. Some teams lose their seniors, some teams get some freshmen, but at the end of the day, College COD is always changing, always evolving. And as you look to the side of SEU Blue, they are one of those teams that we kind of have to keep an eye out for, because although they might not be that same team from last year, they're still a team that could cause some upsets. They've gotten to this point for a reason. They got St. Clair kind of by the neck right now, because if you look all the way over toward the left portion of the screen, you see Thresh there, and he can make this pinch play with the rest of the team. And as Relk looks to push up the staircase, I believe we've got Cruz and Spaz back. Jesse, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, buddy?
I can hear you, sexy.
Only thing that could have made our night any better was getting my internet knocked out by the storm that's going on outside. But you know what? We're back. It's all good right now. And I mean, fill me in. What's been going on through the start of this map?
Pretty much all that's happened so far is contest heavy point number 1. SEU Blue got a good amount of time over towards that second hard point, but St. Clair, they were able to set up early over towards P3. They got broken into, though, and as we were talking about, like I said beforehand, Jesse, really kind of the exclamation point that St. Clair had against TAMU Maroon was their hard point. Thus far, it hasn't been as shiny as we would like it to see. It's almost been a bit lackluster.
They do have the early rotation, at least, over towards this P4 hill, so you know that they're going to be trying to get a good hold off of this one before our second set of rotations. And I mean, with a good hold, they can bring themselves right back into this game, at least tie it up here. And I mean, one thing that I saw from St. Clair when I casted them earlier on today was just they had this unbelievable clutch factor that we saw over and over again. Their first series today, they started down by almost 100 points on the first hard point. They were able to at least bring that one all the way back. The Search and Destroy, they were down like 5-1 at one point, brought that all the way back. So, I mean, this team, I can never fully count them out of a map. This is a much improved St. Clair team from last year.
Gorilla and Priestley will pair for 2. Gorilla now on a 5 spree, looking for potential streaks. So he starts to make his way over towards the bank, just holding a small angle here around the corner. It's kind of a very difficult gunfight coming up. Relk around the corner will look for the shots on the 1. Eons is there, though. And that break from SEU Blue not only gives them about 20 seconds of scrap time on the St. Clair's goes ahead and tries to challenge for it, but that also shuts down the streaks that Gorilla had going for himself. So now as we get set for our second set of rotations here in the middle of the map, Moscow's been fun thus far. It's about a 60-point lead that the side of SEU Blue has over the side of St. Clair. Might be able to extend that just a bit further as we continue to push forward. Either way, though, we'll just have to wait and see, because St. Clair's, again, as Jesse said beforehand, they have the ability to turn up at any time. Will that be on point number 1 here? It's pretty much where they got the majority of their points.
I think the one thing that worries me too is how fast they just lost the good side spawns there as well. So and the pinch that's developing through the middle of the map right now. Unless Gorilla is going to go absolutely massive right now, it's looking like it might be a tough situation. Relic still sneaks in from behind, but they do actually get the spawn flip in though as well. So north-south spawns will be in. Player 5 wins a huge gunfight on the right-hand side of the map as well to basically guarantee them those right-hand side spawns. They just got to be wary of Thresh right now because he has a very good opportunity to get these spawns right back for his side.
Makes the wrap all the way back to PD. Although he can be able to get the spawns for the side of SEU Blue, at the same time, you've got to be careful of the parallel spawns because Eons is in middle map with Relk as well. They're going to get 3 down, and this is going to secure them the full side of the right portion of the map. So now, as St. Clair has to push all the way back through, you're going to look to middle map and checkers for those first couple of engagements. Then you're going to try and get yourself all the way over in towards the B-bomb site. But as Eons will find yet another kill on this 3 spree, we'll finally get cut down at 16 in 10. Sauce and Brandon will pair for 2, and now you're trying to go straight into the belly of the beast. You push straight through middle map, you get right into the at least the first 3 people who are trying to play spoiler for this bench play and the break that they're trying to make, and you get cut down immediately. So now SEU Blue, you've got tons of time to work with here. You've got your power positions all the way in the back with Relk holding that AR position over towards left on the Priestley, and Eon's there with Gorilla. You basically are going to get yourselves a full 60 seconds of time here, and you can find yourselves with the rotations potentially, specifically with player number 3 spawning all the way over towards Eskies. This could be big.
Yeah, the push from Sauce right now in the back is just absolutely not one that you need to be making with 15 seconds left inside the hill. That's worst case scenario right now for St. Clair. Not only do you not get a single second of time on this hill, and maybe only contest for maybe 10 tops, you're also losing out on the rotational battle over towards the next hill. This is where the game can start to get very out of hand if they don't find this player on Eons in the back. The rest of his teammates from the side of SEU, they'll be coming off a spawn. They can try to reinforce from the front as well. This is looking like it could get very scary here.
Eon gets the first kill. Gorilla there for 2. Gorilla tries to go for 3, but Relk is over the top. 9 shots left in the mag. Sauce, if you peek up, you gotta be careful because the Krig is staring directly at you, but Relk has to be forced to back off. Over towards the Eskies. Another player down the staircase in towards Elbow. Can you find the first kill? Yes, you can. So Eons, the first domino will fall there onto Brandon. And as you start pushing around the corner, you got everybody getting the team shots over the top. SEU Blue is broken on in. St. Clair's has looked good all day long, but right now they're starting to waver. SEU Blue have turned it to a different level. Relk on 5 in a row. Eons on 3. 22 and 13 with a minute in the hill. This guy is doing it all for the side of SEU.
And it just feels like St. Clair, once again, is hitting this hill way too late inside the hill. Like, there's 15 seconds left, guys. Give it up. Play for some scrap time here, or play for new time. Stop worrying so much about this last 15 seconds. Very Optic Gaming-like, except you don't fully have the members of Optic Gaming to try to be breaking on into these next hills. Yes, St. Clair, very talented team, just not a fan of how they're playing this hardpoint out right now.
Well, hopefully the Optic factor doesn't come into the S&D, because then they would probably lose it. Either way, though.
just had to take that shot at it.
I had to. Of course I did, you know? Hey, low-key, though, like, all respect to the side of Optic. They had a great year strung together, although it didn't really end up and really acclimate to anything all that large. We got to say one time, at least on the stream, shout out to Formal for an incredible career. The innovation that he was able to provide to Call of Duty, how far he pushed the esports forward as an individual player and what he meant to the community as a whole, it cannot be understated, and it will be cherished till pretty much the end of Call of Duty as an esports title in general. I mean, you'll look back, and he was basically one of those, if you had a Mount Rushmore of Call of Duty, you'd put his face directly upon that. So real quick, we just have to give a shout out to Formal for not only an incredible career, but best of luck to him and anything he does forward in his future endeavors. He's not going to be out of the esports scene, I'm sure, but just a little bit of a step back role from Call of Duty. But again, horny for Formy, man. Like,
I mean, if you didn't say it, I was going to. But St. Clair bringing themselves back into this game. They're still down 70, but I feel like this rotation is where they're either going to win or lose this game right now. Not only do they need to get majority of time here on P1, they need to absolutely string this in and get a good hold in at P2, but it is just not working out for them right now. As Relic and Kruk, they're going to combine for 2 for themselves. But 2 players from St. Clair, they will spawn good here. But, I mean, you got to be able to find this skill in the back end. Priestley doesn't even play for a trade there. He plays all the way in the back of Boulevard. He ends up falling himself. So this is just a very, very rough-looking spot right now for St. Clair, as they're not playing for scrap. They're not playing for new. This is I mean, it's just kind of a lose-lose situation right now if you're looking at it.
trying to push to the front. You've got 2 kills down. Still spawning in the back is the side of SEU. And they're going to have a 4-on-4 retake opportunity for themselves. 24-17 for Eons. Continue to push the way forward. 3 different players go down for the side of St. Clair's as 3 different players find kills for the side of SEU. And Relk once again is set up in the top of PD. You got maybe one more good break here from the side of St. Clair in order to get towards the hard point at P2. But really, it's just looking like it's going to be all done and dusted. Kills in the front side. Kruk can't find the kill. Here comes the break onto the hard point, maybe for the final time here. Just 15 seconds is all that they need to go ahead and give themselves a win here in map number 1. You would hate to see this go to a rotation, but you see player number 3 in Eon. Smart, wise decision to get that rotation, even if you lose the scrap time here. As you said beforehand, almost a lose-lose situation for St. Clair's, but this time it's in a different way. They're not rotated on over towards P3, and this should be the end of the game.
I mean, they do have 2 players here, so at the very least a presence. If they can win these 2 gunfights, they can win this rotation over, but Relic and Eons go absolutely massive. They're going to win both gunfights in the back. Relic will pull out another one out of basically nowhere. They find 3 kills to be able to close that out. I thought St. Clair had a chance for the pinch there. Only 4 seconds left to close this game out for himself. Brandon gets sniffed out. It's just not going to be enough. SEU Blue come out hot in map number 1.
Fun game of hardpoint there for an SEU Blue fan. If you're on the side of St. Clair's, there was a lot on the table that was left to 1. And I think that's kind of the most important thing that we're going to have to talk about as we get into the SNG. Because hardpoint was almost their bread and butter. Specifically, from what we saw against the side of TAMU, and now going into this series, there seems to be a discrepancy, but more importantly, I think it comes from the slaying department, and that the side of SEU Blue were playing extremely well in the fact that they were playing together around the map, but there was never a moment where I saw a solo challenge go away. But even when there was a solo challenge, it wasn't that they just got 1 kill. It was a 1 to 2 kills every single time. So if you're able to pop 2-piece when you're just challenged by yourself, and then you're able to get scrap time, even hill time, or a break off of that, you're sitting pretty for the entirety of the hard point. And that bleeds over directly into the search and destroy, which we're going to express once again for a series here on the stream. Jesse, if you had to take a guess here going into the search and destroy, with the way SEU were playing inside of that hard point, is there a particular scoreline that you might be expecting?
Search and destroy scoreline? I mean, I feel like that's a hard one to give here, just looking at this. And I don't know if our map set above
I mean more of like...
set.
Maybe not a scoreline directly of like, oh, they're going to win 6-4 here. More or less of like, who do you think has the upper hand going into the S&D, and who most likely will take this, just dependent on what we saw in map? Okay,
so I mean, I would have to go with SEU Blue, just in terms of how rough St. Clair's search and destroy looked all season long, and kind of, or at least in playoffs from what I watched from them in playoffs as well. But just, I mean, the fact that I watched them go down 5-1 earlier and then bring it back, I mean, there was definitely a map that they probably should have lost, let's be honest here. Kind of a little bit of a choke from the likes of Penn State White when they lost that map earlier on today. So I would have to give this the advantage to SEU Blue going into the search and destroy. Now, that's not saying that I don't think St. Clair can pull this one out and come away with a map win here. I just think it's going to be really tough. I think that they need to find a way to maybe play a little bit more corresponded together and maybe play a little bit more fundamentally strong, because I mean the fundamentals in that first hard point did not look like they were on right there. It was a lot of little 15 second left in the hill. Hey, let's hit this hill one more time for absolutely no reason when they could have been pushing through, setting up at new hills. And that's where you really saw SEU Blue stringing a lot of those hills together in that second set of rotations to really build that big lead.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that too, because if there was one thing that I remember noting from that TAMU series that St. Clair played against them, was the fact that it seemed like it was the complete inverse, where St. Clair had control of everything, and then TAMU Maroon was just, you know, maybe getting those 15-20 seconds of scrap times, kind of just holding on at the end of the game. And the scoreline ended up being quite similar. St. Clair, it seems like when they were put in the inverse situation, it was one and the same. They just kind of went for those tidbits, and picked off maybe a little bit more that they could chew at some portions, and then it all kind of just ended up going downhill from there. So maybe it's kind of one of those situations where you say, okay, you know, we had our fun with this series, but now we're kind of meeting our maker here in a sense, to where, okay, they're on the inverse of what we played beforehand. Now we kind of have to tailor our playstyle in a different way. That's where the adjustments are going to come in the S&D, and I think that's why this is going to be so much fun to watch the Express pan out, simply due to the fact that St. Clair now has to make those adjustments, something they really haven't had to do all day long.
I do got bad news. I don't believe that the Express is our game 2. I think the Express is our game 5. I think our map set above is incorrect at the moment. From Don't worry, it's okay, because we obviously didn't just play Garrison for map 1 either. So I do believe
Okay,
that's a double
fair.
dose of Moscow, followed by double Garrison and Express to close it out. But nonetheless, a Moscow Search and Destroy is still going to be one of those maps where you absolutely need to be playing as a team if you want to be able to win these maps. Very similarly to Express, where it's not like in Express where you're making constant pushes together as a team, where you're kind of just trying to blind counter your teammates constantly. Express, where you're heading towards Moscow, where it's one of those maps where you kind of need to just make sure like you're sending your players to the right places at the right times. Because if you send and say, hey, let's stack the A site, let's send all 3 players over, maybe play 1 island player over at the B site. If everything doesn't work out properly for you there, you can always just rotate, flip your guys back. You'll be fine, good to go. But still, it's just, man, I'm just worried for St. Clair, man. This is the same map earlier that we saw them go down 5-1 on, and it's just, it's so tough, man.
You see, like, the thing is like, if you go up a team that can close out an S&D, then it's like, okay, well, that was an embarrassing S&D. It was a 6-1.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
And that is what I see when I see an SEU Blue roster, is that not only do they have the potential to go up by that scoreline, but also close it out in the same remarks and not have, you know, 1 or 2 rounds go away. You get a little nervous. You're like, oh, we might lose this map. And then it's like, okay, now the other team has come back and we're in a 1-1 situation, or we're down 0-2 in a series. Because, again, St. Clair's really hasn't had to come back from a deficit of 0-1 inside of a series. So this is going to be something that's, I guess, a little bit of a change of pace for them thus far here inside of just the summer tournament. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think that if they do lose this series, they go down the losers bracket. If they can bounce back with an S&D win here, I think that'll be big for their confidence overall, but also give them that kind of edge that they need in order to be at the top of their level if they have to go through a shark-infested losers bracket.
I mean, and talk about a shark-infested losers bracket. They lose this map. Not only are they losing the map and are losing the series and going down to losers bracket, but they're playing Penn State Blue, who we just saw look unreal as well. So definitely a series where St. Clair is not wanting to lose at this point of the game. I mean, I feel like you never want to lose a series, but you never want to go up against the likes of Penn State Blue inside that losers bracket either, because we saw them earlier on today. They look like a force to be reckoned with. And I mean, this SEU Blue team, I don't think they're anybody to be sleeping on either. Clearly have put in the work this season. They're going to be coming out, hopefully looking very strong as we head in towards the Vanguard season as well. I mean, I'm just excited, man. I think that St. Clair's looked really good. I think SEU Blues looked really good. I'm just, oh man, I don't know where to put it. I don't know really who's going to take this. But to kind of answer your question in short from earlier on, I would give the advantage to SEU Blue going into this Search and Destroy.
I think one of the things I kind of want to take this conversation to is it's not necessarily going to pertain to these two teams, at least right now, but in the grand scheme it will. I think having little opens like this at least provides a little bit of insight to what we can expect from a team, not just early on, but going into the next season as well. And I don't just mean that in like a base form. I mean this because I don't know when the next season is going to be starting up. None of you guys do. But when we get into the Vanguard season, when we start having these teams, you know, we go from seeing, okay, we have a rough idea of how good this team can be. Then they have months to perfect that going into the season, or at least the next season of the CCL. And then being able to then show what they've been able to progress over the course of a couple months going into the next game. And I think for not just these two teams, but every single team inside of the CCL, specifically teams that might not be under that Ottawa reach, they could show. It's one of those things that I think that the most fun portion of the CCL is seeing how teams grow over just a couple of months, but specifically from title to title if they're staying at that same school.
I mean, it's a great question. I think another great question to even add on top of that, too, is how much have these two teams even been playing together throughout the rest of the season? Once the Cold War season ended for CCL, that was, what, 4 months ago, maybe even. So, I mean, that you're absolutely not wrong in saying that. I absolutely love watching these teams play these opens out just to kind of get a taste of what we could be expecting from next season. But nonetheless, 2 versus 2 situation. The bomb does go down from the side of SEU, and it's going to have to be a retake from St. Clair. I mean, if St. Clair lose this round out, it will be a 2 versus 4 from the side of SEU Blue.
Well, sorry to get you sidetracked here, folks, but as we're back on schedule, 25 seconds left on the retake. Kruk in middle map. I don't actually think Gorilla spotted him out. So this could be a bit of a dangerous situation, but you got both players kind of cocooned inside of this little small room over by Laundry. Eon's gonna have to come back and check the corner now. One-on-one gunfight goes away at Kruk. Jesse lined it up earlier. A 2 versus 4 clutch here from the side of SEU Blue. That does not bode well for the side of St. Clair, specifically after map number 1.
Oh man, I think we're both like feeding just to see that that 2v2 coming in at the end there. I thought he had that, but unfortunately not going to be the case. And Kruk actually starting off on 3 in a row as well. I think if you're St. Clair, I think that should be mission number 1. We need to shut this player down. We don't want to give him streaks early on in this game. I don't care how many 5-1 deficits you come back from down and search and destroy. Streaks is nothing to play with here. And we'll see what St. Clair can do off the start of this round. They're going to head over towards this A site, but very quickly answered from the rest of the players here at SEU Blue as they stack the site for themselves.
This time it's SEU. They get the first blood. Eon's up the staircase as well as Kruk. They're trying to tandem this together, but doesn't check the right side. Sauce is there with an ego challenge down the SE as well. Brandon will get traded out immediately after the fact, and his couple more kills go to the way of SEU Blue. It's a 2-0 lead here in the S&D. I'm not gonna, don't get me wrong here. These rounds have been very close thus far here inside the search and destroy, but it just seems like SEU Blue are kind of just playing the better angles and rather the off angles and getting the majority of their trades won. Kind of discounting round number 1 though, and 2 versus 4.
I mean that first round, I feel like that's a round where if you're St. Clair, you absolutely can't throw that away, especially with what your search and destroy record has been here today. Like you were in a 4 versus 2, full site control. And somehow you let a player sneak through glass and shoot you in the back, 2 players. So, I mean, definitely not a situation where they ever want to be in, but see what they can do here on their own defense. But once again, it's going to be first blood going to the side of SEU. And, I mean, Kruk and Eons, they'll get 2. They've got a wide open bomb site now for themselves. They can push up, get this bomb down in a 2 versus 3 advantage for themselves here. Grills might be able to play at just the right amount of time, though.
Oh, he won't be able to get the kill, though. So the shots peppers him up. Priestley in the back. This player in Priestley, we've noted him multiple times throughout the broadcast here today, will find that second kill, should know that the bomb is down as well. Now it's a 1 versus 2. If you're St. Clair, you have to win this round. After losing that first one 2-4 and being down 2-0 already here in the S&D, we already talked about how important it is for them to win the S&D here outright, but more importantly, this round would be such a pain if you were not able to come away with a win.
Look where that
up in
bomb's
top
down.
PD as well.
That's just such a bad spot for that bomb to be down to. They know it too. Like they are just waiting. They are playing with their food right now. Thresh wants no part of this round here at St. Clair. So you know what? They answered back. They got 2v4'd round 1. They 2v3 round number 3. They're at least able to bring 1 round back for themselves here. And I mean, it's all in the back of Priestley, right? Like, I mean, this was unreal. The fact he's able to get the first one, get away with his life, the challenge. What was his HP when he took that challenge? Like 50 HP? And he wins that gunfight outright against Eons. Crazy stuff. I mean, we've said it for years, but watching the St. Clair team, I mean, Priestley is by far the X factor of this team. When he's on, this team is an unreal team. It's just something completely different.
Well, most of these players are getting acclimated here in the first couple of weeks of the semester at their respective schools. They're getting used to their dorms, apartments, whatever they might be staying at, but most importantly, the players that are on campus, the big thing is they're having to get used to that campus internet.
On campus, we're St. Clair's a Canadian team, man. We're in lockdown. What do you mean?
Well, hey, I'm just saying, like, you know, the teams that are on campus are gonna have to get used to some of those internet speeds. And I can tell you from firsthand experience where I was at college, I'm not gonna name drop because there might be a team here in the CCL, but the internet was lackluster to say the least.
It usually tends to be at schools, but yeah, nonetheless, St. Clair, they're trying to open up this B site right now, and oh my god, he just walks right into a firing range at the moment. Not the spot where you want to be as a St. Clair player. They're walking into 2 players from SEU with the crossfire set up completely, and now St. Clair still just trying to put this bomb down and force into this site now because that bomb's down in a rough spot, and they're just going to get pinched in from behind. 1 versus 2 now for Priestley. I mean, if he wins this would be absolutely unreal.
If he wins this, anything is possible. Relic laying down from the back. Priestley trying to make the move in towards the site. You just gotta try and guess. Oh, the audio might be there. Priestley solo but drunk gets the kill. Oh no! Oh, it's so unfortunate. You check the corner, you check the angle, and you just barely aren't able to find that kill. So what could have been a 1 versus 1 win right there, rather a 1 versus 2 win.
I'm not gonna lie. I think if I'm Priestley there, and I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from him. He's clearly much better at the game than I am. But if I'm Priestley there, I honestly wouldn't even be picking up that bomb knowing how loud the audio cue is and how often somebody plays in that corner, because he was expecting it. He fully challenged that corner, expecting for a player to be in that spot, but the audio cue gave him away. Me and you both said it at the exact same time. We're like, oh no, the audio cue. So you know it's there. He doesn't fully expect him, and unfortunately ends up losing out that round. Nonetheless, SEU already back on the offensive, going back over towards this A site. Very hot and heavy hit over towards this A site. There are players here for St. Clair. They've just kind of backed up. They're playing their lifestyle. And honestly, I really like that play from them. I don't like that challenge, though. Brandon, you know they're there. You don't need to take that challenge. Now they have full bomb site and a man advantage.
Full wrecking ball up to the site. I mean, it's just so difficult when you try to charge straight through it. But they go ahead. They give things at least an advantage to the side of St. Clair. So good on them for that. That's tippable, but you still got to be able to come away with the round win. It was a 2v4 in round number 1 for the side of SEU Blue. It's still doable in a 2 versus 3, but you got to be shooting yourself in the back of the head now, knowing that you did have that first blood advantage over towards this A site and could have got that bomb down instead. The aggressive challenge, unfortunately, doesn't pan out in their favor. And now you just have to sit here patiently waiting for either a flank to come through or be able to get this bomb down from the optic corner. Eons will slide over to the bomb. 45 seconds will be left, but you got to be wary because Priestley and Sauce, they can challenge this directly together at the exact same time. Middle map, Gorilla finds the kill. Sauce is going to be there for Eons as well. So St. Clair, they'll go ahead and find their second round here instead of the search and destroy, but more importantly, they go ahead and combat a round where they were blooded off the board first off.
I actually really like that play from Thresh, even though he loses that gunfight through middle of the map. If he wins that gunfight on Gorilla in the middle of the map, that opens up so much flank potential through the opposite side where all the St. Clair players were playing for their retake, and it just would have opened up so much. It's really all on that one gunfight there, and I hate to put it all on him there, but when he loses that gunfight, he basically loses them that round out for himself. But I would even go back maybe even earlier in that round as well to the rest of the players on SEU Blue. The fact that they push forward through after getting full bomb site control when they probably could have just put the bomb down. They had map control. Yeah. They had so I mean, you can't fully put it on them, but I mean, it would have been nice. That would have been a way for them to pick that round out of basically nothing at the point of which it was.
Okay, I got scared there for a second.
I thought we were disconnecting for sure.
I know we talked about internet issues, and I was like, oh, I hope I didn't just manifest that, but it just seemed to be a bit of a stutter. Good news there. Ruck will find the first blood into the round here. SAU Blue once again has gotten themselves at least that first kill off the board, but here comes the equalization once again. Sauce is there with a kill onto Kruk. Will keep himself alive inside of the Eskies. Pushes around the corner. Eons will be forced to back off with his teammate Relk into the back, but as Thresh finds the kill onto the Gorilla in the middle map, it's going to be a 3 versus 2 now for the side of SCU. Now a 2 versus 2. Somehow Sauce won that gunfight, but Relk is there for the trade. Will escape with full health. Now it's a 1 versus 2. Brandon can play this at least as well as he can, but a beautiful shot over the hedge right there. I'm not sure if he was a weed whacker or a bullet molester, but I mean, oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, unreal shots over the top here, and I think we're going to see it again right here, Corn. And I mean, let's just sit back and watch this. Look at this shot. Oh, in slow motion, it's even prettier. Beautiful shots over top of the hedge. And a nice round there from the side of SEU Blue, going up 4-2 here in the game. I mean, as I watch through this, you got to think at some point St. Clair is going to be able to close out some of these rounds here.
You would hope so. You would hope that would have started in round number 1 as well, but unfortunately you find yourselves down at a 2-round deficit. Relk, an aggressive challenge in the middle map right off the rip, is going to force Priestley to back off. Once again, SEU have themselves a first blood in the round. As you start to push right through middle map, Relk is looking for at least one player over towards the top of checkers. Kruk maybe out towards the right side to get some intel onto Priestley, but still work this bomb really wherever you want to, because that's the beautiful thing about getting that first blood, but also having middle map as your full domain to play with, is that you can really tailor that any way you want to. You can play mind games with the opposition because they have no idea where you're going to go until they see you.
Oh, Priestley wraps out just at the perfect time as Kruk was really trying to push through and get on him here, but the rotation is actually going to come through. They make noise over at B, hoping that this makes everybody on St. Clair think, hey, we got to wrap over to B. Kruk should be able to get this bomb down now. Hopefully neither player slides, gives that audio to Brandon, but I think Brandon has some sort of clue that they are here. Kruk will lie down. He'll get that bomb down, and I mean, look how far away Thresh is from this play as well. Thresh is going to have to wrap the entire map to get back to this bomb.
And that's the thing that sucks too. Because you can try to get the kill in middle map. Okay, the reach out is there at least. That's really the only play he was able to make right there. But as Relk in the corner is going to be able to pepper up one, we'll find the second as well. SEU Blue. Another round win here. A 5-2 lead in the S&D. 1 round away from not only giving themselves the S&D win, but also a 2-0 series lead. It would be a dominant, commanding, but an assertive 3-0 sweep if they're able to take the control as well on the back end of this. And after what we've seen from St. Clair Saints the entire day here, Jesse, SEU Blue, they have not disappointed whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think the difference between SEU Blue and the teams that St. Clair has played today is SEU just has this clutch factor right now as well to close these rounds out. It's just really something that St. Clair hasn't really ran into too much today. Brandon will have a huge one-on-one with Kruk through the top of the window, and he's going to actually reach out to try to win that. So him and Brandon will find those first 2 kills. This should open up so much of the map for them to be able to get this done at B, and a beautiful stick as well comes through. So, I mean, if they find a way to lose this round, there's a problem here.
They have no idea Eons is on the flank, so this actually could work
God.
out perfectly, but Priestley turns around. Over towards the right, they're going to get the key of information that the player is there. Under the bus, might be able to lay down and find some shots onto a player inside of the site. Over in the window, Sauce is there. Eon's almost able to find the shots, but St. Clair's will survive yet another round here. Still need to win 3 in a row, but Jesse, I said it beforehand, they won an S&D earlier where they were down 5-1 on this map. Can they do it again with a 5-2? At least 1 round less that they're going to have to go through, but...
If there's anything I've learned from watching College COD over this last year, man, anything is damn possible in College COD. Expect beating Ottawa Gold, apparently. But, I mean, I don't see a world where SEU throws 3 rounds here to the side of St. Clair Saints. But you know what? Like I said, anything really is possible here, so we'll see what they can do. But it's going to be a tough hill to climb, especially if Relic continues to pop off the way that he has been in this game. Right now at 8-4, having a very good map for himself here. St. Clair, they're going to send a lot of pressure over towards that A site and towards middle of the map. That's exactly where the bomb is going, is towards middle, over towards this B site here. Priestley's actually going to have to back up at the worst time, so he won't even spot the cross. So Eons, he has every chance in the world to be able to pop up into B and get this bomb down.
But you got to get through player number 5 and Gorilla first. That's the condition over towards the B site to get that bomb worked in towards the zone. And now you've allowed the side of St. Clair's a little bit of time to rotate back over. Eon's going to hop through the window, but Sauce finds the kill there. 3-2 now here in the round. Oh, Kruk weakens himself with a Semtex. That's not what you want to do when you're trying to find kills. That Semtex is supposed to harm others.
What?
You heard me. Hey, I thought that was blatantly obvious, but...
Apparently not, but this bomb is on the opposite side of where these 2 players are playing right now. So, I mean, Kruk and Relic, they're going to choose to make the full wrap through the back. I believe Brandon just spotted him as well, so not in a great spot here. Brandon will take some shots down range. He'll get dropped. Oh, but Priestley's here for the trade.
Round the back. Relka challenge from the left. 10 seconds. You got to find these last 2 kills. Priestley now challenging over towards the left. We'll find the kill there onto Relk. 2 rounds in a row for St. Clair's. Now is 5-4. Now things start getting a little scary, and yes, you might have.
I mean, that'd be a classic Cruise and Spaz thing to do there, is to caster curse a sure thing S&D win that we fully thought when the team was up 5-2. And I mean, I should have said it too, because like we alluded to earlier, when St. Clair came back from down 5-1 on this very map mode combo. So apparently the way for St. Clair to win this map is to go down and allow the other team to get on map point very early on, and then they'll start to bring it back. That's really what it comes down to.
Just don't show your strats, bro. Like, it's that simple. And then you show them towards the end of the game, the other team just kind of like, okay, dude, like, how are we losing these rounds?
Look at this mid-map hit.
5-2. Yeah, dude, I agree.
This is hot and heavy coming through middle of the map right now.
If you're Thresh, you got to be careful. You got to back the hell off. You don't want to challenge 4 different players from the side of St. Clair's. And although you spot the information, now you give your teammates time to wrap back over towards the B zone. So maybe this turns into a round win for the side of SEU Blue, but with everybody from the side of St. Clair's getting pushed up onto the site right now, all you're looking for is that first blood, being able to get that bomb down and then restricting SEU Blue, not only with a diffuse timer, but also the timer on the bomb to work their way back to the site.
Sauce has the bomb too. Oh, I thought he wasn't towards the bomb. He does get that bomb down though now, so at the very least, they get it down, and they actually all push right out of apartments. This is a great play, because now they can just play towards the back of Boulevard. They don't even have to worry about having those close-range SMG fights inside apartments.
Oh, and this is beautiful, too. You nailed it right on the head there, Jesse. Eons is going to have to challenge with an AR, but he's going to have to go straight into the belly of the beast, but you got to be able to check that bomb as well. Relk over the top will find the first one. Around towards the left, you should be able to get the shots onto the bomb, but you gotta go quickly. You gotta be able to find the kill. Oh no! Oh no! You were so close. One kill, one movement to the left, being able to shoot the tippy toes of the player on the bomb from forcing a round 11. And that was the one thing, Jesse. That was the one counter to the play that they were making. They make the ratty angle work. You could have played under the bus. You screwed the pooch.
Oh man. Yeah, you hate to see it for St. Clair, man. They were bringing it back too. I caster cursed the heck out of that game, and they were bringing it back. But SEU, they close it out. The only thing that can beat a caster curse, Cornmeal, is a ninja defuse.
Or another caster curse by bringing it up in the first place. I mean, like...
Did I caster curse my caster curse?
You caster... Dude, that's like... We just created, like, a paradox.
Unreal stuff. But, I mean, SEU, they looked fantastic in that Search and Destroy. Maybe barring those last couple rounds. I did not even hear what you just said.
I said think about it. You created a paradox, Jesse.
I mean, hey, man. If somebody was going to do it, it was going to be me, right?
What is going on, bro?
I don't know. We've lost absolute control of this broadcast.
Well, speaking of control, that's where we'll be heading to next. Garrison control for map number 3. The SEU Blue roster has found themselves a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 series. This is in the winner's bracket, so either of these teams, whichever one loses, will go down to the lower portion of the bracket. However, they're going to be going and facing off against a very hot Penn State Blue roster. That'll be tomorrow, so both of these teams have already guaranteed themselves to play on Sunday, aka tomorrow, for the championship, where we will crown the winner of the College COD Summer Open presented by eFuse, but more importantly, we'll get to watch the rest of this tournament play out. We're not done just yet, though. One more map potentially on the room, at least that's what we're guaranteed. We could see a map number 4 for a Garrison Hardpoint, but with the way the series has gone so far, SEU Blue look terrifying, they look good, and they look primed to take this in a 3-0 sweep. We'll find out just what happens on the other side of a break when we come back. My name is McCormiel, alongside myself is Cruz and Spaz. We've got Garrison control on the win. Welcome back, folks, to the College COD Summer Open presented by eFuse. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cruz and Spaz, and we've got at least one more map guaranteed for us with our control. If we need to go to the distance to map 4 and 5, we could see that, but this has all the signs pointing to a 3-0 sweep for the side of SEU Blue. We'll just have to wait and see as we get ready to get into map number 3 again. This could be the final map of the entire day number 1 of the eFuse College COD Summer Open. It's a mouthful to say, but with $5,000 on the line, I'm willing to say that every time for these players.
I mean, it's a mouthful to say, but I'm willing to say it because of how much I love eFuse, dude. These guys have come in, and I mean, we'll give them a little bit of love right now while we're getting ready for map number 3. They've done a great job, honestly. All these tournaments that they have come in to help run, eFuse times CCL, has been a fantastic combination, and hopefully one that we'll be doing for quite a while here, because every tournament that we've run with eFuse so far has been super smooth. So, I mean, absolutely no complaints on my end as a caster. Fantastic job by these guys, and I mean, it's been honestly a pleasure to work with these guys so far here.
Absolutely, I couldn't say anything different from that as well, because, I mean, although Gummer is very seclusive with the words that he decides to say to us, and it makes me a little sad that I don't get to talk to him more, it's nice. just a little smile, it's nice.
But nonetheless, though, we'll reel it back in now. We'll reel it back in. We're not going to lose control again. We lost control before the break. We're not going to lose control now. We'll reel it back in. Garrison control on the loom. St. Clair Saints, that's going to have to be a reverse sweep if they want to take the series and stay alive here in the winner's bracket. SEU Blue, though, they're going for the sweep of their own, and they're looking for a 3-0 here.
Green control for the side of SEU Blue. Priestley on the top of Tank, trying to go ahead and find the shots, but Relk is going to be the one who walks away with a one-on-one gunfight. Brandon over towards the right and middle map will find the kill there onto Kruk. It's a pinstripe kill feed that goes back and forth. However, SCU Blue, they've only lost 1 life thus far. St. Clair has lost 3. The defensive side, throughout the first about 50 seconds of play, has at least been able to hold on throughout the entirety of it. But one good push from the St. Clair Saints could turn things around. However, with Fresh and Kruk being able to pair for those two right there, this could really be the turning point that the side of SCU Blue needed to ensure that they go ahead and find themselves the first round and the defense.
I mean, Garrison Control, we've said it all year long, but I'll say it again. It's all about those breakoffs. And St. Clair, they had a really rough breakoff off the rip there. It makes the round so much harder on yourself once you have a tough breakoff. But they are onto the zone at the very least. Priestley, he's trying to put a little bit of pressure in here, but you can already see SEU, they've got so much map control. They can try to push back forward to shut these players down. But Priestley, again, just going absolutely massive for the team. Can't completely shut it down yet. And St. Clair, they will stay on the point, continue to have that clock paused.
Kruk now making the push over towards the A site. First tick of progress over towards B will come through. Thresh holding the back line over towards the spawn. This is kind of what we saw from the set of Ottawa Black when they played this map earlier. Every lane was watched. Nobody could fly through and maybe hit a sneaky little flank on the offensive side, disrupt things on the defense. Now they'll add an extra minute on the clock here. It's still 19-19. I thought they were going to add an extra minute, and they will. So kill comes through. Got a little hair there at the end. But as they find that, they're going to be back on the respawn now. Everybody as a 4-man starting to push up to the side of St. Clair's. Shots over the top from Thresh is going to pepper 2 up, but won't be able to find the full kills on either of them. As Eon's peppers up some kills of his own, Ruck will finally find a kill in middle map, and that'll, again, stall the push from St. Clair all the way back once again. So they got to get over towards A. They got a minute to work with, and they're down by a life.
And realistically, easy job is done by St. Clair. Now comes the hard part, though. You need to break A. A is the much tougher of the two zones to try to break on into, especially when you have Eons this far pushed forward for the likes of SEU Blue. If he gets in behind these players, this could easily be a 4-man wipe if the communication isn't on point. And, I mean, at this point, he's just calling out Gorillas. He'll shoot him in the back. That's 2 down. They only need to find 1 more here on to Brandon to basically make it all 4 down at this point of the round. And it's exactly what you like to see from SEU Blue, and it's just a really tough situation to be in for the likes of St. Clair Saints because they got to make that full push across the map to get to A every time they fall.
Well, you got 2 players in middle map right now. Maybe get across the bridge, but if you look at where Thresh is playing in middle map, trying to play spoiler, has called out a couple of players getting over towards that A site. Play number 3, though, Gorilla, will be the first to fall over towards A. Here comes the pinch play, though. If they're able to take play number 6 in middle map, could be big, but it's still 5 versus 9. On the point, Kruk has to back off. Still 2 players from the Saints on the point at the moment. Brandon, Priestley, trying to pair this together. Around the corner, Priestley gets the first shots there. Gorilla will fall yet again, so no respawns remaining for the side of St. Clair's. Trying to contest onto the point and will be able to do so. Eon tries to shoot the toes from under this time. However, that was kind of the downfall of St. Clair's in the last round of the S&D, so that's a bit ironic that we see it now from the opposition. The contest still there, though, from the side of SEU Blue, 6-4. They brought the lives back within a manageable point. There's only 2 respawns here remaining for the side of SEU Blue. They've got 2 ticks of progress. They're trying to get the last one. Gorilla gets the kill there on the Relk, and St. Clair come back on the offensive round to take a 1-0 lead. I mean, I guess when the backs are against the wall, anything is possible, but that was a beautiful round, despite how it started.
I mean, we've said it off the top of this match, and I'll say it again. St. Clair, they just got a clutch factor to them, man. And, I mean, they might not have been able to close out that comeback in the search and destroy, but that first round of control, very, very nice out of themselves there. They get it done. Now we got to look towards this. And, I mean, with St. Clair winning an offense on Garrison, now becomes the case of, can SEU take an offense here? Because that's generally what the case is here on Garrison, is who's going to win that first offense. And if you lose on a defense, that just puts so much more pressure on you to even win that first offense here for yourself. So SEU, they're going to need to answer with one of their own. Otherwise, they're going to end up falling to this map.
Minimap lockdown. Thresh will find the first blood in the round here, but Priestley and Brandon will go ahead and pair for 2. 3 down for the side of SEU Blue. And now St. Clair's, they found themselves on the defensive side. Maybe start to push up the map a little bit, get a spawn trap working for themselves, but as SEU Blue now on the break back, they're on the south portion of the map trying to break here through tools and on towards the Caution head glitch, and as Eon will finally at least make things a little easier for the side of SEU Blue to push up the map. Sauce wins the huge one-on-one there, and now we'll look to challenge Kruk for the second kill.
At least they get control of B, though. They have full control of their own spawn now. They can look to at least get forward on the map if you're SEU Blue, but it actually looks like they might be setting up to try to hit in over towards this A site. And, I mean, it was the wrong call. Brandon set up, ready to go, waiting with the SMG. They're just waiting for them to push through that hop-up. And, I mean, Brandon might be able to find all 3 here, as Eons is going to fall as well. So, I mean, fantastic plays out of St. Clair. They get a great break off, and they've just held pressure, holding down that key all the way through, keeping these players at bay right now.
4 in a row for Brandon. Streaks would be incredibly useful here for St. Clair, who are still trying to keep themselves in this series. And as nobody from the side of SEU Blue can push up the map, Gorilla will be the first one there to go ahead and tick those players off the board. Gorilla Long head glitch there with a Krig in hand. Eons will try to push up onto the site. They're going to try and get over towards B. Eons will fall first. Now players are availabilities for trades. As Priestley comes through from behind on the flank, the kill in middle map will be the side of St. Clair Saints. Relk now pushing up in towards the lights area. They'll get that first tick of progress over towards B. And if you're St. Clair, do you go ahead and push back to this point? I would absolutely say yes, because you still got the lives dwindled down. You've got everybody kind of on the back foot now. With only 3 seconds left, 2 good kills are going to be able to get you the round win. Sauce is there. Brandon finds the kills, and St. Clair on the defensive side, they'll take their second round of control in a row, now 1 round away from putting themselves at least guaranteeing to see a map number 4.
Yeah, see, I actually like that they don't push back and just hold for one site there. Don't just give up the zone at the very end there. I actually really like that play, that they knew that if they find those 2 kills on site, yes, it's a risky play, but if they find those 2 kills, they close the round out with only 3 seconds left in the round for themselves there. So good close out there from the side of St. Clair, up 2-0 now. I mean, kind of the opposite of what we were expecting going into this garrison here. But SEU, they kind of came out flat after giving up that first round to the likes of St. Clair, and that offense just never really got going for themselves here. So we'll see what they can do on defense. It starts here for them if they want to try to make the comeback here in the control for themselves.
Top control of green to the side of SEU blue, kind of almost a mirror play of what we saw in round number 1 on the defensive side. Middle map, Kruk will find the shots, but unfortunately we'll find the trade out immediately from the side of St. Clair. And now they're starting to push up into the spawn side of the defensive team. So this is where things get hairy. This is where they get a little bit dicey if you're on the side of St. Clair, or rather the side of SEU Blue. Because now, not only do you have to push back over towards A and make sure nobody from St. Clair can push up onto the site, you don't want to split your defense too much, but you also want to make sure that they can't get B for absolutely free. And as Kruk starts to push forward, they are able to find Brandon, who's just sitting as a little sneaky man inside of the corner, but
he's done. Yeah, this is it's looking like there's a very decent chance. I'm not gonna say it. St. Clair, though, off to a very good start here in the control, looking to force into a game number 4 here. They want to go back to another hard point here. They don't want to lose this game on just a 3-0, but St. Clair, we'll see what they can do. Only 5 lives have been lost on both ends, and already a zone has been captured by St. Clair in this round. But I mean, you look at this SEU blue team right now and where they're set up. They have a very good setup here for this, and it's going to be a tough break here from the side of St. Clair.
Priestley not making the push up. Eon saw the head glitch. The challenge just did not work out at all. Priestley has been beaming, and again, once he gets that hot hand, we know how dangerous St. Clair's can be. 4 in a row. Looks back over towards the square side and towards Cobble. Off the spawn side, SEU Blue now trying to make this push up. They want to make sure nobody can go ahead and flank around from the back. And they also know that nobody is on the point, at least for the time being, pushing through green. So everybody from the side of SEU Blue should be looking over towards the mid-map portion, and they are. They get those first 2 kills down, and now Thresh will hop over and find 2 with the Krig. A little bunny hop that you don't typically see here in Cold War works out in fire. In flames, now St. Clair's is back to the respawn block. Jesse, we saw this in round number 1. I really hope we don't see yet another repeat.
Hey,
where St. Clair's take an offensive round that should not have been theirs.
I mean, they've got every chance in the world to do it, but Kruk will shut down 2. Can't shut down the 3rd, but his teammate was actually going to be the player to shut him down himself. But nonetheless, it staggers that push significantly from St. Clair. I don't think they have enough time to try to hit this from the back one more time. Gorilla will win a huge gunfight out towards Square, but still, again, it's just not enough. They need to now filter every player in through the top of green. And with Eon still in behind you, it just makes it harder and harder. Only 1 player left now for St. Clair. Sauce goes down, and SEU Blue, they'll get on the board here with their first defensive win.
All right, there's the start for a reverse sweep that you needed here inside of the control. On the counterattack, though, we're also looking at a reverse sweep for the side of St. Clair. So it's basically 2 different tales of a story. One trying to close out here inside of map number 3. One trying to force a map 4 and 5. But really all it's going to come down to is who can take the offensive or defensive round here. If you're the side of St. Clair, you want to be able to show out, win this final defense, and or say, all right, you know what, screw it. We got this map. We tucked it away. Now we can forward. Now we can set all our focus on map number 4. If you're SEU Blue, though, you don't want that stress of having to go to another map and potentially losing a hard point. You say, all right, let's clutch up here, boys. Let's go ahead and get this done. Get it off the board. Get it out of the way. And walk home with a nice 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, you need to find a way to clutch up here if you're SEU Blue. Take an offense here, get a lot of... And I actually haven't been counting ticks. I don't recall how many ticks that SEU got on their first offense here, but I think they got one zone, if I'm correct. But I don't think it will be enough because of how many ticks St. Clair has been able to get. So we'll just have to see now at this point who ends up getting that final defense. But I would think that it goes to St. Clair at this point. So, I mean, that's going to be tough. So even if SEU wins this, if they have to win another offense right after, it will be a tough tale. But, I mean, definitely something that is still very possible. It's just the harder of the two jobs to do.
Well, they got the difficult portion out of the way. They pushed themselves over towards the B point. They've got the halfway progress on the zone. They're halfway away from being able to add an extra minute onto the clock and give themselves essentially 2 minutes to work back over towards A. It's only going to be a 1 versus 1 on the point at the A zone right now, with Priestley being the only player trying to stop that push from coming through. They're going to double time the point over towards B, just to contest keeping coming on and off. Brandon being a nuisance. Doesn't want the zone to go just yet, but also doesn't want to risk the life that it's going to take. As he pops around the corner, we'll find one there onto Relk. It's still so close to being kicked down all the way. Oh, Eon's a middle map. Thrush over the top, and Kruk gets the kill there too. Now Lakers are pushing this over towards A, and this is where it gets
look
scary,
at the life lead.
Priestley is the only one there, and I agree with that 100%. It's a 5 live disparity. You've got everybody basically over towards A. You can start making this first tick of progress work out, and you've got player number 8, Eons, with the beautiful head glitch over towards top green. Player number 2 is going to challenge out, and Eons will get the kill. This is going to be basically all that they need, because now they've got the spawn trap set up. They don't have anybody back over towards the zone. If they stack it with these 2 players for enough time, this should be an offensive round win. There goes the second tick. Looking for the third now. Players now, the reinforcements are in. Player number 2 around the corner. Priestley can't do it. Neither can Gorilla. You look for the last player on St. Clair. He can't get it done either. And now it's 2-2. We're going to a round number 5 here with SCU Blue taking 2 consecutive rounds. An offense and a defense. Maybe looking for an offensive round here to win this and send the series home in a 3-0.
Oh, man. Now comes the question. Before Mill, here comes the question. Are we going to see a reverse sweep in the control, or are we going to see the start to a possible reverse sweep in the series here? You said we created a paradox before. Here it comes back again. Stipulations on top of stipulations here. We'll see what they end up doing out in the final round. I just feel so bad for Priestley right now. Man is having himself a day. Playing so good for this St. Clair team. 22-16. He just needs a little bit of help here in this final round if they want to be able to close this one out here for themselves.
These are those matches that get you all pent up, all the energy that just pops out at the very end. And the St. Clair, as you said beforehand, they want to keep themselves alive. SEU Blue, they want to go ahead and close it out here. All the storylines that have culminated to this point here inside of the winter semifinals will end with 1 round on control. Or in the case of St. Clair, they could potentially keep on going. Relk gonna look over towards Dark. They've got to push over towards B. The last time, they were able to get a couple of kills going in their favor right off the rip. But more importantly, they were able to completely get that B zone off the, or at least all 3 particular progress. 55 seconds left on the game clock, which gave them 2 minutes to work back over towards A. This time, they'll get over towards B. That'll be the first step in the right direction. However, St. Clair, they have a little bit of a life advantage here, so they can throw away a couple if they need to. But that Semtex around the corner, the beautiful shots there from Thresh. Maybe the kill on the Priestley could be big, but Priestley goes big for 2, and that just might have kept the side of SCU Blue off of that progress just enough to maybe give them the defensive round.
And this is the thing for St. Clair as well. In that last defensive round that they just had, not only did they give up B, but when they gave up B, they lost all of their lives at the same time. That's what allowed the likes of SCU Blue to string hill to hill together. So even if you do end up losing this round here, even if you end up losing this zone, I should say, if you're St. Clair, you need to make sure that you don't give up all your life so that SCU Blue can't string the hills together as easily as they did the last time through.
Here they come. Onto the B zone. 13 seconds left. 2 lives separate the teams. Priestley's going to be there for the shot punch. 74U around the corner. Thresh over the top, though, with the Krig. We'll be able to win it. This is what we saw in round number 2. SEU Blue on the verge of being able to complete the B zone, but St. Clair's were able to hold on. You got the contest. You got the clock stop. Can you pull off the miracle? Can you get this B zone around the corner? Shots are going to be there. Priestley over the top. Kruk the last one now to push onto the site. Priestley will find the second kill. St. Clair, after 2 rounds in a row from SCU Blue, they close things out in the control. We'll see a map number 4. We're guaranteed, and I mean guaranteed, to go to a Garrison hardpoint.
Wow, who would have thought, in all honesty, that they would have been able to come back from that? I thought for sure St. Edwards had every chance in the world to close that game on out there. Yes, they're on offense. Yes, it's a little bit harder, but they just did it one round before. But St. Clair, they learned from their mistakes. They try to rebalance and do what they did from that first map, and it's from that first round of that game, and it's absolutely what they do. They bring it all the way back. They get their first game on the board, and now we look forward towards this Garrison Hardpoint. And I mean, if you're looking at St. Clair here, and you're going to Garrison Hardpoint, after watching that map 1, your rotations need to be more on point than what they were in map number 1. And like you alluded to, it's what we've seen from them earlier on today. They looked very good in their hardpoints in terms of being able to rotate. It just kind of, they got answered by SEU Blue. They weren't able to get it as close as they were the last time through. If they're able to now, you got to think there's a very good chance we end up seeing that Express Search and Destroy.
Two things. First and foremost, I absolutely agree with your point that you made beforehand. Rotations have to be there, but more importantly, you can't let them break within the first 20 seconds of time, or even less than that. Number 2, this map right here, it cannot be a repeat of what we saw just from map number 1. But here's the difference maker and the X factor that the side of St. Clair have, right? I don't know if you heard me talk about him last game, but there's this guy named Priestley. Right?
He's insane.
He's kind of disgusting. And if he can do Priestley things here on map number 4, I don't have any doubt in my mind that we go to a map number 5. No doubt.
I'm right there with you. I think Priestley, I mean, I said it before too. I think Priestley is the X factor on St. Clair. If he's going off, they're winning maps. I mean, we saw it in that last round there. Who was the player who just kept contesting that site over and over again and winning the gunfights in ridiculous fashion over and over again inside of lights? It was Priestley. And I'm right there with you. I think if he is on point and he gets the smallest bit of help from the rest of St. Clair, I think they have every chance in the world of being able to force us to a game number 5.
Well, while we have a bit of downtime here, folks, let's go ahead and run you through the upper bracket and lower brackets real quick. As we saw beforehand, Ottawa Black was able to 3-0 the side of Texas Tech. Right now, the winner of this map will go on to play Ottawa Black inside of the winners' finals. Down on the lower side of things, Texas Tech and Purdue COD have both moved on. Penn State Blue, again, is going to be awaiting the loser of this match inside of the next round of the loser bracket, which will then obviously shape up what we will have left for our top 6 teams inside of the Summer Open presented by eFuse. And while we have a little bit of downtime here as well, I also want to go ahead and give a big shout out to eFuse as well. We kind of talked about it beforehand as well, but I kind of just want to give my thanks to them for not only being able to have these tournaments being provided for us here, but also the incredible smoothness that we've had that went along with them. And Jesse had touched on that beforehand, but I just want to go ahead and again give them a big thanks.
You're a copycat. It's okay.
I absolutely am, and I'm gonna steal everything that you do because you're just so sexy. See,
Right
now I
back
left
at
you
you.
speechless.
Yeah, you really did. you really did. I'm just not used to it, man. Come on, Cord. Yeah, not
you
on
gotta
broadcast.
be bold with your statements. You gotta let everybody know. Like, I'm just saying what the people are thinking here, Jesse.
I mean, if that's what the people are thinking, you gotta give the people what they want, right? But I mean,
I get messy for Jesse. I mean, like,
Stop.
that's just one of those things. It's just how it is. Once again, left him speechless.
Yeah, you're too much for me tonight, I will say. I mean, should we reel this one back in, or are we just...
No, let's reel it back in. Okay, so map number 4, we framed it up already. St. Clair, obviously, now have started themselves a comeback for a reverse sweep and an opportunity to keep this series alive, but more importantly, keep their winner's bracket alive. But the side of SEU Blue, one lost map doesn't mean the end of the world, though. It doesn't spell destruction. It just spells another opportunity that they're going to have to close this series out. Before we get to an Express Search and Destroy, which you probably don't want to get to, just because you're giving St. Clair so much momentum, but at the same time, like, it's kind of neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because you don't want to go to that Express Search and Destroy, but like you still feel pretty confident if you're SEU Blue going to that Search and Destroy, just in terms of won that first Search and Destroy pretty evidently. Yes, it was a 6-4, but they were up by quite a bit early on in that. They could have closed that out probably a couple rounds earlier than they did. Just kind of lost a few rounds here, but nonetheless, into the Garrison Hardpoint now, and it's SEU Blue who was in early hold or early position of that first hill, but St. Clair already right back into it. They hold on to those good side spots. What is that spawn out? Thresh actually going to spawn up behind all the St. Clair players.
Another 2 kills for the side of St. Clair. Middle map still being heavily contested. It's what we come to expect specifically on Garrison, but from any P-hill or P1 hill on any map and mode. Braceley comes around from behind. Kruk and Relk will go ahead and pair it together. So SEU Blue right now, they have point number 1 held down. They could get up themselves about 15 seconds here, but our main focus is on those rotations on the north portion of the map where you see that key and pad lock. Essentially, if you haven't watched Hardpoint beforehand or you're new to the CCL and are wondering how Hardpoint works essentially on the mini-map, you're going to see where, at least on the south portion of the map, where the Hardpoint is, those 2 arrows above one another, that is going to tell you where the hardpoint is at current and how much time is going to be left on that. That little padlock will come out with about 10 seconds left, and it'll show you where that next rotation is, where you can nicely see where those players are starting to talk about and starting to set up. And that's what we talk about when we say P1, P2. It's just those rotation hardpoints throughout the map.
And a beautiful setup from St. Clair as well onto the second hill. They have they started off very strongly here. They did not want to give SEU Blue any chance to be able to push on through. And you know they want to win this map right now. They want to force that game 5, not only to stay alive in the winner's bracket, but also they force a game 5 here. I mean, they're going to the winner's bracket if they end up winning this out, and sorry, the winner's bracket final if they win this out, and guaranteed $500 if they win this match. So, I mean, an absolute map where they want to be able to pull this one out here if you're St. Clair.
Well, as we were saying beforehand, we want to see them set up. We want to see them be able to hold. They do that on P2, and that's a really good sign if you're a St. Clair fan. Over towards the right portion of the map, though, you've got those first couple of kills down, but the spawns are going to be in over towards the back. So you got Kruk, who's inside of the hill. You got Relk and Thresh trying to hold down over towards the garage side. And on the Jenny, you've got Eons, who's trying to play those long-range angles over the top from players pushing into dark. SEU Blue, though, once they get set up, they're also a very dangerous team. But this is one of the hardest hills to break just straight up inside of the game in general. And you're going to have to get through an SEU Blue roster, who once again is trying to send you home. Eons has been great throughout the entirety of this best-of-5 series. However, here inside of map number 4, a bit of a slow start, but can turn that around quite easily as we aren't even through the first set of rotations, let alone the 4th point in the first set of rotations. So no matter which way that goes, St. Clair's will go ahead and stop the bleeding for a bit of time. They might be able to get a few pity points here on this hard point, but more importantly, they want to set their forces and focus us up towards that next set of hard points, or rather that second set of hard point as we get here to point number 4.
This is a huge hold as well from SEU Blue. They basically hold that for a full 60 for themselves here. A good contention from the side from the likes of St. Clair towards the back 60, really making it a little bit rough at the very least. But I mean, if you're SEU, you gave up a big amount of time there on P2, but with P3, they answer right back for themselves here with a good amount of time, and they're already looking to try to string it into P3. Usually the rotation out from P3 to P4, a little bit tough. Not the case this time here for SEU Blue.
Sauce playing slow, playing steady, but if you look up top, Kruk on a 5 spree, trying to go for more. First shots are going to be there around the corner. Sauce tries to find the kill there, but Kruk will continue to stay alive 6 in a row, but won't be able to find any more. So no streaks on the table for SEU Blue right now. Would have been a huge factor to try and close out this game if they would have been able to earn even the artillery barrage. But 2 players lined up, they stack up, but Thresh gets the better of Gorilla in the 1 versus 1. We'll keep him alive up and towards top green. That's going to be the control here for the set of SEU Blue in the power positions. However, as we look down to the hard point, St. Clair's is there, and maybe if Brandon can get out, start that setup and rotate all the way over towards point number 5, we can see a good hold here from the side of St. Clair, even though point number 5 is usually very contested.
He's absolutely snuck through as well. He's sitting inside lights right now, and he's just waiting for his opportunity to pounce. He wants his teammates to come back alive for himself here. He gets the player in the back, gets the second inside of the hill. So huge plays coming in from Brandon. I thought he was about to make the right read onto Kruk as well. Not going to be the case, but it will still be St. Clair who's able to hop back inside the hill.
Nobody inside the hard point right now. 35 seconds left. Starting to tick off the clock. We're tied at 91 here. About to get to our second set of rotations. About as even as you really can get through the first set on Garrison. And as Priestley finds the kill there onto Eons, Brandon will just be stuck inside of lights right now, trying to find those first couple of shots to help out the rest of his team get inside of the hard point. And everybody from SEU Blue, you're going to see them start to rotate towards that north portion. They want to get top green control because it's so valuable to have when you talk about point number 1. And however, St. Clair's, they're going to be able to get pretty much the rest of the scrap time here. So we should be tied at about 103 apiece here as we get into our second set. Who will be the first one to get the early jump here on our second set of rotations? It's going to be SEU Blue who are set up in the hard point, but a pinch opportunity now for St. Clair's. They could get top green control as Brandon wins a huge one-on-one versus Relk.
This is where we saw St. Clair get majority of their time as well on P1. This time through, though, the difference, they're not on the good side spawns this time. So they need to make sure they get a good amount of time here on P1 and somehow flip these spawns out so they can get those P2 spawns. They don't want to lose them out. They're going to get a split spawn to come in right now as well. And actually 3 players are going to end up spawning on out. So, I mean, they have a chance to break here, but you got to think that players 7 and 6, they want to put more focus right now on trying to hold on to those P2 spawns.
Gorilla now makes the push up.
Oh, it's exactly what they do, too.
Yep. Brandon's up top now. You can look for Thresh in the back. Thresh will win a huge one-on-one, though. They still got more players over towards the left portion of the map, so the spawns are going to be theirs for the time being. It's going to be a big, difficult push for SEU Blue to break out of top green and get onto the point, but it's only going to be a 1 versus 2 here, because Brandon's the only one playing that long angle. However, as I say that, though, it's a one-man wrecking crew as Gorilla gets the kill over through middle map. That's going to be 4 down for SEU Blue, and this is time that St. Clair is going to love to have in their back pocket. However, last time they were able to hold it down, they didn't get the rotations over towards P2, and they broke back over towards P3, I'd say with about maybe 20 seconds of time left on the board. If they're able to hold down P2 this time, get 1 or 2 players to sneak out and rotate on over towards point number 3, this could be a completely different ballgame, and we could be looking at St. Clair going ahead and forcing a map number 5.
And the difference from St. Clair that you see from like a lot of challengers or CDL teams is that right now they're not making that push through the forward side of the map. And actually they have a great chance to right now. That spawn flip could not have come at a better time. Yes, you might end up losing out on the remainder of this hill, but you got the front 40. These back 20 do not even matter because now you can get the full rotation and set up for this next hill as well. Eons is going to be the furthest player push forward for the likes of SEU Blue. He needs to try to push on forward, and he finds a cheeky little angle there to try to get back into this hill. So not a terrible situation at all for the likes of SEU as well. It's really just going to be a 2v2 for the remainder, or for the opening time on this hill.
Spawns are there for St. Clair. They get inside of the hard point. Now they can just hold everybody from SEU Blue back in towards middle map. And this could be big. As I said beforehand, last time they got P2 held down, they weren't able to rotate towards P3. This time they get basically all of the time over towards P2. They set up and rotate early for P3. They got players pushing through middle map, though, in through tools. Eons will be the first one to arrive. Shots there onto Priestley will make at least the first domino tick over. And as Gorilla goes ahead and finds the trade back, Kruk and Thresh will pair for 2. Spawns should be in here for the side of SUE Blue over towards the point, but they're not even going to lose a life. 25 seconds left to scrap time. This one is much closer than what we saw on Moscow. St. Clair not out of it, but 20 seconds of time to SEU Blue. These are huge points that are going to the side of SEU right now, but more importantly, the biggest 20 seconds of the game for either of these two teams.
2 very different tales of different sets of rotations as well. The first set of rotation, it just felt like constantly hold after hold after hold. This time through, it just feels like one team's going to hold for 40 seconds, and then we're going to see a big break come on through. And so far, it really has been the story of this series is very, very close between these two teams. Even that game number 1, yes, the likes of SEU Blue were able to win it out. It wasn't a full-on blowout, though, for themselves here. St. Clair, they want to answer back. They want to get this hardpoint win. They're in a great position right now as well, with the rest of SEU kind of just spawning on out. But those 3 kills, wow, they can't be underestimated how huge that is from SEU Blue. They're able to get right back into the hill.
Well, at least she still got Brandon in top green. But as Kruk finds the kill there, that power position basically goes away. And now SEU Blue once again can go ahead and retain the lead. I think we've seen like 7 or 8 lead changes here. And again, this is one of the most closely contested hardpoints we've seen on Garrison all year long up to this point. In the second set of rotations, we're on point number 4 out of 5. And it's only a 12-point lead for the side of SEU Blue. But as Ruck finds 2, Kruk is there to find 1 on the sauce. Brandon, the last one alive on top bridge, has to turn around, reads Thresh perfectly, gets the kill. But it's still going to be the side of St. Clair who are responding all the way out over towards P3. This could be what SEU Blue needed. However, look at where Priestley spawns up. In the back over towards the tracks. This could be the pinch play that they needed. They're trying to break in towards the hard point, and they're going to do just that, at least for the time being. Now they have the power positions of the top bridge, and they can go ahead and have these head glitches close for the players in SEU Blue that are spawning out of tracks.
And very weirdly, we got north-south spawns off the start of this hill, but not going to be the case anymore. Left side spawns go to SEU Blue. St. Clair Saints, they're going to continue to hold on to that right-hand side spawns. And SEU's able to get right back into this hill. They can win on this hill if there's no more contention from the side of St. Clair.
Got to make the break, though. They can win off this point. Brandon, Gorilla will find 3 together. They get inside of the hard point. 16 seconds left. Tons of time here. But you gotta look to Thresh, who's playing over towards P1. Priestley finds the kill. Now they can start trapping him over towards the track side. But you've got to make sure you're set up on the rotation to P1. And you've got everybody there. Kruk will fall to the hands of Brandon. Sauce and Brandon have gone huge in these last couple of points. But so has Gorilla. Everybody from St. Clair's
Look at the
has been
spawn
kind of
out.
teeing up. I was about to say the same thing. Kruk all the way over towards the right side. Now has to come on the flank. Is able to find the first one onto Gorilla. Priestley snaps around and is able to turn. We're about to have yet another lead switch here. Unless the contest comes through. And SEU Blue can go ahead and hold on in from light. Brandon finds the kill. Sauce is there as well. Thresh and Kruk will pair for 2. It's a 2-2 trade. Thresh from middle map. Now it's all 3. Now 4 down for the side of St. Clair. Priestley has to go big on the caution. 10 seconds left for the side of SEU Blue to send St. Clair to the lower bracket. Hope and destroy the dreams that they had for the comeback here for the reverse sweep. 3 seconds left. Brandon around the corner. The contest is in. Eons, Relk, Thresh all find the kills. SCU Blue, a closely contested hardpoint goes their way by a 20-point margin of victory. They'll have a 3-1 victory here. They'll move on to play Ottawa Black in the winter finals, and they'll send the side of St. Clair Saints down to the lower bracket where they will be playing off against the one and only Penn State Blue, who have been hotter than white lightning.
Wow, I mean, I don't know how you held that for so long there, but that was I'm sure you're out of breath at the end of that one. That was a fantastic hardpoint to close out our series here and close out our day number 1 of this tournament here for the CCL summer tournament. But wow, just I mean, unreal stuff there from St. Clair. I thought they had it. I honestly thought they were going to close that one out, that we were going to get the game 5. But Kruk gets that spawn out, and you got to think that spawn out is what helps SEU close that map out. He turns so many of the heads of the St. Clair players. Once he finds that one kill, they all turn around, allowing the rest of his team to be able to hit from the left side. Really just set up that pinch for SEU Blue so well. Yes, it's a fortunate spawn out, but you know, you got to be ready for things like that to happen, especially on P1 when things are so open for the likes of St. Clair, and it was just something that they didn't read coming.
Well, if you're a St. Clair fan, you can be happy because your team showed a lot of light at the end there, but they're going to have to face off against yet another juggernaut here tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, and that goes ahead and kind of brings us to the end of the broadcast here for day number 1. It's been a fun day, but again, tomorrow we will be back at 1 o'clock Eastern for not only the winners finals matches, but our losers round 2 all the way throughout. We'll be finishing the tournament tomorrow. Myself and Seymour will be here for losers round 2 at 1 o'clock, and then of course I hold shift and proper will be on a little bit later in the day tomorrow as well. We're only gonna have an alpha stream tomorrow, no Bravo stream, so if you want to find out where the stream is gonna be, you can come here at College COD, and we'll be here all day. Follow on Twitter for the links as well, at twitter.com. That is going to be, of course, College COD. Again, fun day here, great time that we've had, but unfortunately it's all going to come down to a bittersweet end as St. Clair gets sent to the losers bracket, and SEU Blue will go on to the winners finals. Either way, my name has been McCormiel, alongside myself has been Cruz and Spaz. We've had Gummer down on the production throughout the entire night here on the Alpha side, and we gotta give big shout outs to Seymour as well as Spider for going ahead and getting Benji was the observer as well. Okay, there we go. More people to shout out, but of course the College COD Summer Open for $5,000, all powered by eFuse, will again be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Folks, have a safe night. Oh, and enjoy whatever you got going on, and be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock because you're not going to want to miss these matches.